350. That's a pretty big number when you look at it.
Yeah, it's one of those weird ones. I'm not really sure what games count and what don't. I was talking with Foxy before this morning around one of my first ones with Canterbury. It was a pre-season game, but it was for some reason classified as a first-class game. So yeah, it's quite interesting what games do count and what don't. Some of the age group stuff do, some of it doesn't. So yeah, big number.
So you can still remember the number one?
I'd have to actually have a look at the list and see which games count, but I definitely do remember that first pre-season game for Canterbury. We played at QE2 Park, but yeah, I think it was because both teams named 23 and it was played under certain rules or whatever it was, so you guys know more about it than I do.
How different does the game, do you feel, to back then to where you are now?
The game's evolved and changed massively, so when people ask you, who's the best player you played with, it's actually really hard to compare people that you played with when you're 21, 22 versus now. So the game's evolved all the time and players are doing the same. Be awesome to compare, but it is very, very hard because rules change, styles of games played change, so yeah.
What does the environment feel like for you out there? Because I mean, it's probably like any workplace. If you keep going and you see everyone else that you started with as well gone, and other people have come and gone, and now you have some in there that are in their first season.
Yeah, when I first started, I think Brad Thorne had been playing professional sport for 18, 19 years, and I think I was 20, 21. So that was the start. We've got some guys here now that are making New Zealand under 20 sides, and they're playing full Super Rugby games. So it's kind of a full circle at the moment, but it's awesome. There's some guys here that are that'll be around for a very, very long time, and they'll play a massive amount of games too for whatever teams they decide to play for.
One thing that's sort of been a constant most of your time is that Chiefs-Crusaders rivalry. I remember back to sort of those earthquake years. Is it, especially this season, you feel it's back to that?
I think there's actually history between all the sides we play, but there are some big games that both the Chiefs and the Crusaders have been a part of, whether it's playoffs or round robins. Both teams love getting out there and performing in front of their home crowd, and that's exactly what the Chiefs will be trying to do this week.
How would you describe that rivalry with the Chiefs of how it's perceived within your camp?
I see it very similar as all the other ones. Like I said, I've been around a little bit, so there's games and sides you can go back and look at and say, this was challenging, this was great from both sides. So yeah, it's exactly the same as that, but I think it's like that in New Zealand because we know each other so well. So whether it's on a personal level or a playing level, I played with some of the guys on the Chiefs sides for a lot of games, so you kind of know what they're going to do, but at times that's probably the worst thing because you know what they're going to do and it's just up to you to stop it rather than having to learn about them and having a different plan.
What was Brad Thorne's advice to you when you were a young pup?
Yeah, no, Thorny had that typical Aussie way about things. Used to love getting in the gym, putting a singy on, getting stuck in. And for myself, I think I was about 106 kgs when I played my first test match with Thorny. The heaviest I've been is about 124. So he really installed a lot of the basics in it. So the recovery, the stretching, the eating well, the mental side of it. So he was a massive part of it, but I had an awesome opportunity when I first came down to Christchurch. I had Isaac Ross, Chris Jack, Brad, Ross Filippo. So I had all these guys there that were playing for the All Blacks or had played for the All Blacks, and I just had an opportunity to look at what they did well and try to take all their strengths and hopefully none of their weaknesses.
Could you ever imagine you'd get to 350 milestone?
I never thought I'd play for a man or two, let alone go on and have the career that I've had, and it's pretty cool watching Aaron Smith do it a couple of weeks ago. So we had a couple of texts after the game, and it was just nice to take that time from someone that grew up with, and we used to always joke and at lunchtime at high school would always be doing something. So not a lot of people realise that Aaron can jump in a line out. He used to love at school jumping in a line out, catching the ball. I don't think he's done it professionally, but he used to love doing all that stuff.
Because you're in the field and ag first 15 together, were you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your playing time with George first of all, Adam and Luke?
Yeah, it was very, very special. We all played for Canterbury pretty much at the same time, the older three, and then Luke came along via Canterbury Uni. But I think probably the most enjoyable part of it was actually being out here, training with each other. And sometimes it was the family rivalry would come out, a few family nicknames, and everyone's like, what's going on? But for us as brothers, we knew exactly what was going on. But for myself as a brother, some of my most special memories are actually getting out there and doing it and playing and being successful with my brothers. There's definitely one game comes to mind, playing the Stormers in Cape Town. We had a pretty similar year to this year. We had a heap of injuries and all the young guys were thrown out there. All four of us started, and Ben Fennell, our young cousin, was on the bench, and we got the job done against a team that everyone had written us off against, so it's definitely one that sticks up there.
Can I ask, how big of an influence has Scott had on you?
Which Scott are you talking about, sorry? Scott Hansen. Scotty's awesome, obviously, play different positions to the one I do, but he's awesome around the intense side of the game and challenging you. So even though I've been around a while, he's not afraid to square you up and say, look, this is where I think you need to be, this is where you're operating, but I want more out of you. So whether that's on the field, off the field, around leadership stuff, developing the next generations. So Scotty's been awesome in that, but he does it in his own way. So because he does it that way, it's so authentic and really gets you to go along on the ride with them. I go back to last year when I was having a bit of trouble with some in-area stuff. All the team was away, Canterbury away. Text Scotty, hey, can you come down and give me a hand? And he straight away, yep, happy as. And I think I said, hey, 20 minutes, but an hour later it was like, Scotty, I know you're going to go back. This is meant to be your off-season as well. So he's just happy to work and has that work ethic that you see when he helps players. He installs that in them as well.
What's your plans for next year, Sam? Do you stick around?
Yeah, good question. Working through a few things at the moment, but nothing final yet. But when we know, we'll let you guys know.